All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, quarterback Sam Darnold is in his fourth NFL season, and just for the second time, he has a three-game winning streak under his belt. As we saw the Carolina Panthers take care of business last night on the road versus the Houston Texans by the score of 24-9. However, as compared to the last time that Darnold was able to enjoy a three-game winning streak in the NFL, this one has a very different feel to it. Now, Darnold is in his first year with the Carolina Panthers, and he's off to this 3-0 start. But it's a lot of little things that are going on. First of all, Darnold is completing more than 68% of his passes. And if you go back to the three seasons that Darnold spent with the New York Jets, his career completion percentage was under 60. It was at 59.8 to be exact. And the most important thing for me when I see Sam Darnold, granted, he still has some flaws in his game, but I see a confidence, and I see a confidence in Sam Darnold at the quarterback position that I have not seen since he was playing collegiately at USC. It's all about the people that are around him. Matt Rule, the Panthers head coach, he's an offensive minded coach, and he's the best head coach that Sam Darnold has had to work with since he's been in the NFL. Having running back Christian McCaffrey, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in this podcast. But the explosiveness and the playmaking ability of Christian McCaffrey as both a runner and a receiver when he's healthy can really impact an offense. You look at what Carolina has at the wide receiver position. First and foremost, Robbie Anderson, the former New York Jet, who was a teammate once upon a time of Sam Darnold's with Gang Green. And then, of course, the Jets allowed him to walk in free agency, and he ended up with the Panthers. Now there is a reunion between Darnold and Anderson. And you also see the likes of DJ Moore at wide receiver as well. Now, Carolina's offensive line is not great, but it's still better than what Sam Darnold had with the Jets. And it just goes to show you what can happen when a quarterback has talent around him. Because if you watched from the untrained eye, if you watched Sam Darnold's 3 years with the Jets, a lot of people had you thinking that Sam Darnold was a bust. And when I found out that Sam Darnold was getting traded to the Carolina Panthers this offseason, I was very happy for him from the standpoint that, you know what, he's going to go to an organization that wants him. He's going to have a coach in Matt Rule who can work with him, and there is talent around him. When Sam Darnold came to the Jets in 2018, the offensive line was in shambles, and they lacked playmakers at the skill positions. And the thing was, they put too much on Sam Darnold. And like I keep saying, every new quarterback that the Jets get, the media and the fans alike in New York around this team and New Jersey, they're waiting for the next Joe Namath, and that guy does not exist. There was simply too much put on Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson is finding that out right now as a starting quarterback from the Jets as a rookie. And it's a situation where, you know what, just like it was with Darnold, Zach Wilson's being set up to fail. But you know what? Sam Darnold got a reprieve, and he has removed himself from that stench that was the Jets. And now he can start looking to build upon his NFL career. Barring injury, this is going to be Sam Darnold's best season in the NFL. And, statistically speaking, he's going to have his best passing season, but most importantly, in the win column. Sam Darnold, his best season as a record-wise starter with the Jets was 2019 when he went 7-6. But now he has an opportunity, and with the strong start of the Carolina Panthers, he has an opportunity to do some good things and potentially get this team to the postseason. It's going to be easier said than done because they're 3-0 are the Carolina Panthers. They've beaten two teams in the Jets and Texans that a lot of people expect to be in contention for a top 5 pick in the 2022 NFL draft. So nonetheless, they have taken care of their business. One division win, they mopped the floor with the New Orleans Saints last Sunday because this D comes after opponent so far. But things are going to get a little bit tougher for the Carolina Panthers because the schedule is going to get a little bit more difficult rather, starting with their week 4 contest when they travel to take on the Dallas Cowboys. But nonetheless, we heard the news today in regards to Christian McCaffrey, most likely going to miss some time with that hamstring injury. And of course, that is really going to change what the Panthers can do offensively. But I still like the connection that Sam Darnold has with Robbie Anderson. I like the playmaking ability of DJ Moore at wide receiver as well. And this team is gaining confidence. And most importantly, Sam Darnold himself is gaining confidence. And that's going to be a big thing going forward. You look at him, he's been rejuvenated. He's a young guy. So the sky is still the limit for him, but he has been rejuvenated. And it just goes to show you, number one person cannot do it by themselves in the National Football League. Also, it comes down to being put in the right situation. And I say it so much because a lot of these quarterbacks go into bad situations as rookies, meaning there's not a lot of talent around them. And so much is expected from them immediately. Number one, when you draft a quarterback very high in the first round, and sometimes some of these teams do take reaches on these quarterbacks in the first round, but nonetheless, it all comes down to who do you have there as a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, or a head coach to work with these youngsters in order to see if they're going to get on track? What talent do you have around them? Do you have a solid offensive line to protect them? Do you have a running game? Do you have wide receivers? All of these factor in, and I keep saying it. I know that things have changed because of the rookie contracts and things like that, but every quarterback coming out of college is not equipped to be a starter in the NFL from week number 1. Sometimes it pays to have that veteran quarterback that can work with the youngster, show him the ropes, show him the ins and outs. Now, for a guy like Sam Darnold, he did have Josh McCown with the Jets, and I think that does count for something because Josh McCown has seen his fair share of the ins and outs with the NFL. But my point is, a lot of these teams, they push these kids out and test them too quickly. And sometimes, you know what, if things go wrong, you can possibly ruin that kid. And Sam Darnold was on the fast track to being ruined with the Jets. He got a reprieve. He looks like a different player in Charlotte with the Panthers. And I think the future is very bright for him in the NFL. Not saying he's going to be a world beater or an MVP candidate, but he is on the fast track now to being a solid NFL starting quarterback, as opposed to being on the fast track to being a guy who was always going to be labeled as a bust. So it's not just about drafting guys early. It's about developing them. It's about putting the right people and personnel around them. The Jets did a bad job of it. And very quickly, Matt Rule has Sam Darnold looking like a much different and better quarterback. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.